there. My name is Rahab. And I'm going to tell you my story. Stay away from me. And my story starts out when I was living in Jericho. Yes, Jericho. I was a very popular person. I had a lodge that people stayed in. The king even knew about me. My name is Rahab. And I was the harlot there. And one day, we had heard about these Israelites that were coming into Canaan. And as they came in, we had heard the stories of the past 4 years in the wilderness, and that their God had spread the seas. And all of a sudden, they came into our land, and they destroyed that city, and then that city, and we go, we're next. But they can't get through our city. It's a huge city. Nobody has ever gotten through our city, and our walls are big, strong walls. But one day, as I was walking through the marketplace, I was coming over here and picking up that, I saw two men. They were strangers. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe they need a place to lodge. So I invited them in. Took them a little convincing to come in. But they came in and we started talking. And I realized that these were the Israelites that we had heard about. And their God was the most powerful one that I had ever heard of. And I knew that their God had given them this land. And that someday our city would come down. And that must be today because here they are. But if I figured out who they are, then the king would figure out who they are. And if the king figured out who they are, they'd come here and kill them. But so I had to save their lives. So I convinced them to go up into the rafters. And I hid them underneath some flax. And of course, guess what I heard? Pound, pound, pound. It was the king's men. They came in and goes, where are those men? Hand them over. We want to kill them now. And I'm like, well, the men were here, but I did not know who they were. But as the sun set and the gates were going to be closed, they left, and so go get them. They're going that way. Shoot, shoot. They went. It was all good. And so once I watched them go around the corner and down the hall, they're really noisy. I closed the door. I had to come down. And as they came down, they go, how are we going to get out of the city? I'm like, well, my house is on the wall. You could go out the window, and I have a red cord that you can climb down. But before you leave, you have to promise me that you'll save my life and my family's life. Because I believe in your God, and I believe that He's given this land to you. Will you do this for me? And they go, we will do this for you. If you bring your family and all that you know who believe into this house, and you tie this red cord that you'll let us down in the window, then you and your family will be saved. And so they promised under their God. And if they promised under their God, who had parted the Red Sea, killed many people, destroyed many cities that were indestructible, and soon this one, then they had saved my family, and they could keep their promise. And so I let them down after I told them to wait in the hills for 3 days, and they went back. We waited, and I gathered all the family, and we gathered all of we got some chickens in there too. We had to eat eggs, you know. But we didn't know the time or the day that they'd come. And we waited, and people go, come on out, come out, we got a feast over here. Come, have Mary with us over here. Like, no, we're going to stay in here. Thank you anyhow. And a time went by, and then one day, we heard them coming. We looked out the window. There's the Israelite army coming. Like, here's the day. What are they going to do? They started marching around in circles 7 times. Then they left. They didn't do anything. So maybe they're scouting out the place. I don't know. And then they came back the next day. Guess what? 7 times they went around and around. You can actually see the marks in the ground by the 6th day. And we're like, oh, we've been trapped in this place for 6 days. When will they attack? The 7th day came. They marched only 1 time around the place. Then they all stopped. Oh, what's going to happen? Are they going to attack? How are they going to get through the walls? The archers were mighty. They started yelling and blowing their trumpets, the great noise. And as they started yelling, they all stopped. And then this ground started trembling. I'm like, oh no, Dad, you're just trembling. And then, no, it wasn't. Mom felt it too. And so sisters and brothers. And then I felt it. And it started shaking. Everything started shaking. And I'm like, I'm on the wall. What's going to happen? We're all going to die. They're not going to even be able to save us from here. And the whole thing started crashing around, and we see the buildings fall, hear people scream. Then all of a sudden, my dad goes, they're attacking! The walls had come down so they could come inside, and they're attacking. We could hear the screams, all the screams from my friends that were outside. The people I thought were good and wouldn't believe it, but they wouldn't come inside. I cannot get my head. Oh, it hurt because of the screams of my friends. And we didn't know, well, maybe in the chaos they'd forget about us. The cord's still there. They have to keep their promise. Will they still kill us instead? Then, all of a sudden, there's this another big bang knocking at the door. I reluctantly opened it, and to my great relief, there was the two men that had come, and I had saved them. And they came in with lots of other soldiers, and they came in and helped us gather all of our stuff and escort us safely out. We had to close my mother and I, we had to close our eyes because we could not handle what was happening. And they took us outside the Israelite city. And they destroyed everyone, every living thing. And they had told us that this city was dedicated to God, and that all the riches were His and His alone. Not the Israelites were supposed to take them. And the people, the animals, the children, all of them had to be destroyed. But my family didn't because we believed. We believed that their God was here for a purpose. We believed that their God would save us for helping them. And after that happened, the Israelites took me in and my family into the Israelites, and we became Israelites. And I was so proud and so happy that the Lord had accepted me, a sinner, and a non-Israelite child, into His family. And throughout the years, of course, I was dead, I wouldn't know this, but I'm kind of here right now. But I found out that the Lord, He's a descendant of me. Jesus Christ was a descendant of me. I was blessed enough that because of my faith, my active faith of doing and believing, even though I did not know what was going to happen, whether He's going to save my life or not, He saved me and my family and blessed my line with having Jesus Christ. How many of you would hide away in your room with some food and some water, and just being like, nowadays, just saying like, there's going to be a destruction happening. Would you hide in your house for that long? And your friends coming over and going, come on up, you're being silly, they're not going to destroy, nothing can destroy us. Well, look at this, we've stood for many years. But we couldn't. We believed. We got the shame and the scorn from our friends that I thought were my friends. But because I stood up for my faith and a God that I barely knew, the one true God that I knew, He saved my life. And that's how it's going to be at the end of time. Your friends that are beside you may or may not choose God. And you have to stand up to what you believe, not what they believe, not what your parents believe, but to what you believe. Because that's what it's going to all boil down to. Is that you have your faith, your trust, your friend, Jesus Christ, beside you, and that He will keep you safe at the end of time.
Just a couple of announcements.